Today we went to the computer lab, and one of the things that we learned how to do was navigate my website and see how to access homework and get documents. So we're going to go and do that again. You can either search the Chardon Schools website, or I happen to have it memorized, and it actually starts to pop up on mine. It's www.chardonk12.oh.us. And you can search the staff directory under middle school. And you can try typing my last name, or you can scroll down through the list until you find Culleton. And there are going to be two links. One actually has my email, and the other is my web page. And it's going to open up into a brand new page. One of the document links here is for homework, and it's a calendar. And on the calendar, you can see all the homework for the night, and also if you were absent, anything that we did during class on that particular day. The other thing that's here is going to be the English binder documents, and that's what we worked with today. We went to Greek mythology, and we're going to be working on taking notes on a god. So the first thing we have to do is get our charts ready. So instead of opening this, we click the second one, blank chart to record God's research information, and saved it to our flash drive. And we're going to save it 2 times. One time, we're going to save it as World Book, so that anytime we take information from our World Book source, we're going to enter all that data on that chart. And then we did it again, and we saved it as a website, because you have to use World Book for one of your sources and a website for a second. Now you may decide that you need 3 or 4 different websites to gather your information, and if that's the case, you're just going to go back here and save this chart to your flash drive under another title, website number 2 or website number 3. Okay, so that is how to save your charts to your flash drive. After we saved our file to the flash drive, we could actually start doing some research. So we went back to this main page of lgca.org that allows us to access the documents from the library. Clicked on Info Ohio and went to the core collection. This will open up in a new page, and it'll show you a bunch of different sources that we can use. The one that I'm requiring students to use for their first online source is World Book Student, grades 6 through 8. So if you click on the link, it'll take you to a page that asks you for a username and password. Because you're not in the school library, you need to enter this. So it's Info Ohio, and this is all on the form that I gave you in class. And the password is POWER. And I'm going to put Remember Me. Go. And we said we were going to use World Book Student. So once we get there, I'm going to type in my god's name, which was Dionysus, and search. And any article that mentions Dionysus is going to be listed here. We want one that's going to give good information about him, so we're going to click on the first article, which is titled his name, and we'll see we've got 3 paragraphs about him. Now that we know what source we want to use, we want to go back to our flash drive and find that document that said World Book. And it's going to open the chart that we're going to use to record our information. So the first thing we're going to do is type our name and our god's name. And before we actually take notes, we have to make sure that we know where our information came from. We document it so that we don't plagiarize. Down at the bottom, there's a little link that says how to cite this article. It's not a link, I'm sorry. But we can copy and paste that into our box so that when we go to Noodle Tools later, we can find the information. And the other thing we want to make sure that we copy is the hyperlink. You go up to the top, copy, paste, we'll use this information later when it's time to actually enter the data into Noodle Tools to make a works cited. So some of the things we need to find are the Dionysus, or your God's Roman name, the realm, which is the area that he or she ruled over, any symbols that are associated with your God, and if there are pictures that help us associate that God or recognize him, we could include those here. Family relationships, personality, real-world science, applications, how he or she helped mortals, or anything interesting that we happen to find about our God. So we're going to go through and actually read this word for word and find out if any of this information fits into our chart. And if it does, we can just copy and paste it. So it starts with Dionysus was the god of wine. So I'm going to copy, that's his realm, and paste that information here. And then go back to the article. After coming into contact with Greek culture, the Romans adopted Dionysus as their god of wine, but they called him Bacchus. So now I found out his Roman name. I'm going to copy and paste that in the box where it says Roman name. In Greek mythology, Dionysus' parents were Zeus, king of the gods, and Semele, the mortal daughter of King Cadmus of Thebes. Dionysus married Ariadne, the daughter of King Minos of Crete. So this all sounds like family relationships. So I can copy that whole sentence, 2 sentences, and paste that here under family relationships. And I'm going to keep going back and forth and doing that until I've gone through all the information and found everything that I needed for my God. Now, as far as personality, it's not going to come right out and tell you that your God was and give you a character trait. But it might tell you a story about a God, about your God, or that your God was involved in. And based on how your God responds or acts, that should tell you a little bit about your God's personality. So you could copy and paste that story in here because you might want to relate that to the class later, and then add some notes on next to it that tell us what you thought about his personality based on that. So I'm going to stop here, but this is what you're going to continue to do until this whole chart is filled out. When I did this on my own, the only box that I didn't have filled in was real world science. So when I look at my website or read my book, I'll be sure and focus in on making sure that I find something that I can enter in one of my other sources. For now, I'm going to make sure that I hit save so that my information is saved, and I'm done.